Boom. We're fucking here, dog.
Won't get even the swipe for the train. Cloudy, ride to the airport, gonna get right for the plane. Custom, smell like kush. Wife in your hand in a tish. Yes, and I got no shame. Some line to shine. With a broke if you got
We're here.
Waking up next to the sky.
We are here. We're gonna start with some housekeeping. If you listen, hit subscribe, rate the podcast. You could watch the podcast and a bunch of other content at Big Mood TV on YouTube. Barrio Corner's featured on there. We have some culture. We're starting some cultural movement, cultural content. We have some health and wellness content coming very, very, very shortly. We have a 6-week series that's coming out. So go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, Big Mood TV. We appreciate all that. Hearts over everything on all platforms. Share it with people. You can go to the bigmoodcoach.com website. There's merch. I'm going to be wearing the Big Mood hoodie next week. We have the Hearts Over Everything t-shirts, men and women. We got the Big Mood crew neck. We've got a lot of just fun shit, just fuck around shit. But cop that and support the brand. And don't support me for any other reason but you fuck with me, and we're going to get into that whole idea of fucking with somebody or fucking with me. We're going to get into that. But it is Slinging Dick Monday. So let's say that first. Slang Dick Monday. I read a tweet. It says, we're slinging dick and bubblegum, but we're out of bubblegum. I'm all out of bubblegum today, guys. It's Sling Dick Monday. And I'm tired. You know what? I say I'm 89% free. In life, I'm free in most regards. Like 89% free is more free than most people are. Some people have confines that they have to function within and structures they have to function within. I don't speak any hate into the world, right? Like I don't say the R word. I don't speak racism. I don't speak, I'm not I'm not insulting to LGBT community. I'm not doing any of that. And I don't make those jokes really. So it's not like I'm speaking anything divisive. I don't think those divisive things, but I say generally about myself and about like culture, whatever the fuck I want, like 89%. But you know what? I'm tired of fucking even censoring myself that much. So it's Sling Dick Monday. I didn't make that up, but we're gonna theme the whole podcast, Slinging Dick, and it's gonna get rated really low on iTunes because dick is in the title, but I don't give a fuck. Because why not give, I'm tired of giving a fuck, man. I care way too much about a lot of shit. And the thing is, I care so much about a lot of shit, and people make their judgments about me anyway. But, so I preface it with that. Now we're going to do some duality, and here's something that I have to remember. Everything I have is by the grace of God. I couldn't have done this. And it could be Christ consciousness, Dharma, enlightenment, Yahweh, Vishnu, fucking Elohim, doesn't matter. It's not my doing. I had a spiritual experience as a result of a 12-step program. I had a spiritual experience in rehab. 2 weeks into rehab, I realized I didn't have to shoot dope to live anymore. And since then, I just have had a very cool life. I started out with a very tiny life in New York and then came here and have grown a life beyond something I never thought I'd be able to do something like this. Like, this is fucking cool that I get to do this. And I start to like think that this is me doing this. And sometimes there is part of this that is me doing it, the footwork, the actions, right? Like I show up to the studio, I think of creative things, I express myself, that's me. But this ability to do this is I think God created. Because my best thinking, me trying my absolute hardest is shooting dope and hurting people. That's me doing the best I can. You know, when I was using, I was doing the best that I could, and I was ruining my life and the people's lives around me. So something has happened over the years that has made it so I can do this cool shit, you know. But it's Sling Dick Monday. I don't give a fuck today. I got a bit of a chip on my shoulder, to be honest with you. So where do I start this conversation, you know? I'm 30 years old and I still really care what people think about me, you know? And I'm waiting for that to go away. My mom always says, she's like, I spent my whole young years caring about what people have to say about me. She's like, now I'm 60 and I don't give a fuck. I want to skip that. I want to not give a fuck right now. So today is kind of leaning into not giving a fuck. Today's leaning into that. You know, to be honest with you, with all, I dealt with so much fucking trauma as a kid. No one thought I would make it. No one thought I would get sober. No one thought I would get sober. Like my friend Allie and like all of the friends wrote me off and said like, Eric's gonna die. And my other friend, they all kept hope for him. He used for another decade, and I got sober at 23. Everybody counted me out. My father actually said to me, he said, Eric, and this is no fault of his. He said, Eric, I have prepared for you to die. He said, I have prepared myself. So I've disconnected from my child and I've prepared for you to die. Even my father, you know, had to emotionally prepare himself to lose his son, because I would end up in the hospital very often, and I was overdosing, and I was getting to fights where I would wake up in the hospital. And my brother told me, he said, there was one time we came and visited you in the hospital, your face was all fucked up, and your face was all beat up, and you got into a fight or a car accident or something, I don't remember. And he said, we came and visited you in the hospital. And I'll tell you, to this day, I have no recollection of what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know when that happened, but things like that were happening to me on a regular basis. That was my life. Chaos. Violence, chaos, and overdoses. And no one thought I was going to fucking make it. And those same motherfuckers are, you know, making honest livings. Some of them shot dope for a decade after, 7 years after I got sober. The ones who thought I wasn't going to make it, used for, are just getting sober now or are dead. The ones who thought I wasn't going to make it. And then when I got sober, no one thought I was going to stay sober. Even people in San Diego recovery, no one thought I was going to stay sober. No one thought I would have the life that I have. Everybody counted me out. There's motherfuckers who hoped that I wouldn't stay sober. They hoped I wouldn't stay sober. They were like, fuck this fool. There's motherfuckers who thought I wasn't going to stay sober. Even sober, there's motherfuckers who thought I wouldn't succeed. There's people who thought he could never run a business. Even my parents were like, fuck, I don't know how you're going to do this, man. Not because my parents don't believe in me, but because people just didn't, it's hard, people just didn't believe, So people didn't think I could start a business. Then, starting a podcast, people were like, oh yeah, everybody starts a podcast. And I tell people right now, start a podcast. How many motherfuckers have started a podcast 8 months ago and have 10 episodes out? Or no episodes out? Or one episode? Even the studio, we talked about it at Room and Board. People came in here and recorded a podcast, one episode, and never did it again. But we're almost 120 episodes in, 2.5 years in. We're not slowing down. It's only getting bigger. It's only getting more popular. Our downloads are only going up. Some weeks we grow 170%. We've grown since quarantine started, because we lost all of our listenership during winter break because we all got depressed at the same time. We stopped recording. We lost interest. So when quarantine started, Room and Board and myself took full control of this podcast, and some weeks we had 200% growth. I swear to God, I try not to watch the numbers because I do this for the love of the game. I do this for the love of the game, but we're still growing. We're still growing. People didn't think we can do it. People thought like, who cares what this motherfucker has to say? Someone does. I care what I have to say. I care what I think. You know, people in 12-step didn't think I was going to make it. They didn't think. They called me shit show. I called myself shit show. I couldn't get a grasp on life. My first 4.5 years of recovery was a train wreck. But I made a commitment to myself that I'll jump off the Coronado Bridge before I die a junkie death. At least I can say I tried and I did, and I died on my own terms, not died with a needle in my arm. I refused to die that way. And that's why I'm still sober, because I made that decision. And I made that decision from the bottoms of my feet to the top of my head. And I said that at a meeting. And I speak very definitively when I speak at meetings. You know, and someone pointed out a part in the literature, in this 12-step literature, about being self-righteous. Don't we feel like we're a little bit better than people? Don't we enjoy feeling a little bit better than people? Don't we enjoy lust and the thought of lust really disguising itself in sexual manipulation? I'm paraphrasing. Don't we enjoy self-righteous anger? Don't we enjoy these feelings, these character defects that keep me sick? You know, and I meditated on that for 2 days. I've read that over and over, and I meditated on it, and I prayed and I talked to my friends about being self-righteous, you know. But the reason it's Sling Dick Monday is because I am a little fucking self-righteous, because nobody thought I could fucking do this, any of this. And there's people who are going to watch these clips and they didn't think I would fucking do it. They did not think I could fucking do it. There's people who are going to see this who said, this motherfucker can't do shit. You know? And it's interesting, the whole idea of today's podcast is staying humble. Staying humble, because if you actually take the time to get to know me, I don't think very large of myself. I'm actually the opposite. I play small. I don't think I'm that good looking all the time. Sometimes I think I'm the shit. You know, it's duality. But I don't think I'm that good looking. I don't think I'm that smart. I don't think I'm special in a lot of regards. But then also to do the things that I do, to travel to Thailand in the next couple of months, to go chase a dream, to create more, to create more, whether people are viewing it or not, whether people are downloading it or not, to create more. To do those things, you have to think highly of yourself. So really the thought of this podcast today is, how do you mitigate confidence and self-righteousness and humility? How do you mitigate that? How do you navigate that? And I think that's the plight of them. That's what a lot of men have to do. Women do it too. I'm not going to blah, 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 blah. But I'm talking about what men are experiencing, you know, because I've done really well. I'm wearing fucking prescription tinted glasses. They're not sunglasses. I wear these every day. You know, I feel confident enough to wear these every day. You know, I feel confident enough to tattoo my whole body. Feel confident enough, and you make a lot of money, you start throwing that shit around, treating everybody to blah, 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 because that shit feels good for the ego. You know? And you're doing good, so you kind of deserve to spend money the way you want to and do the things you love to do, and that's part of working hard. You know, I'm able to ask my partner, is there anything that you need? And is there anything that you want? Is there anything you want? What do you need? What do you want? I'm able to ask her that and provide that for her. Very lucky to do that. It's hard for that not to go to the ego, you know. But also the whole podcast, there was a podcast a couple weeks ago, Masturbate and Joy. But right now I'm doing the best I've ever done in my life. And I need to masturbate in that shit. I need to fucking soak in that shit. Because it comes in, it ebbs and flows, especially in the industry that I go in. Sometimes it's kind of feast or famine. Sometimes there's not that much work. Sometimes there's a lot of work. When there's a lot of work, you make a shit ton of money. You know, and I think that's in a lot of industries. But when you make a lot of money, Be fucking confident. Feel good about it. Especially for me, everybody's been fucking doubting me my whole life. People have been wishing that I didn't do well. When I first got sober, I'm like, it was a family weekend at rehab. I was about to get out of rehab, and my family came and visited, and they told me how I hurt them. You know, they told me how I hurt them, but they also told me they were proud of me. And they said, good job. We're finally happy that you're safe. We're finally happy that you want to change your life. Okay? And then I get a call from this motherfucker, Ben. And he said to me, you know, Eric, everyone fucking hates you and you should fucking kill yourself. Let that bitch breathe. He went out of his way to call me. I don't talk to this motherfucker. We weren't even that good of friends. But he called me and said, you need to fucking kill yourself. That's what he wanted me to die. There's motherfuckers at home who want me to die. And I'm still fucking out here. I'm shining, bro. And and I'm not an egocentric person. People think I am because of what I look like, because I'm big and I have some muscles and I care about how I dress. People think I'm egocentric, but I'm not. My whole goal is to be humble, you know? And the reason I started this podcast it's all by the grace of God, because I started thinking I did this shit, you know? That's part of the ego that needs to be mitigated. I didn't do this. I had a spiritual experience in life, and God has been providing for me, and there's been promises fulfilled in my life that I could not ever fulfill. I know that when I'm untreated, when I'm not taking care of myself, I know that I have problems in my personal relationships. I know that I have difficulty making money. I know that I'm a slave to depression, anxiety. I know what I'm like when I'm not treating my drug addiction or alcoholism. I know what I'm like when I am treating my alcoholism. And right now I'm in all these promises and I'm a little self-righteous about it, honestly. I am, because I know what I'm fucking talking about. I know what I'm fucking talking about. And a lot of times I speak on this podcast saying I don't know what I'm talking about. But I know from experience the things that I'm talking about. And if I don't know what I'm talking about, I try really hard to stay humble and at least express on here that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just an idiot. I'm stupid. Not really stupid, but I'm not like a fucking scientist. I'm not a fucking lawyer. My brother's an attorney. He's brilliant. You know, that's what I mean by I'm stupid. I'm just some dude. I'm just a junkie talking. So I try not to talk about things I don't know about, but with the shit I do know about, fuck you. Listen to what I'm saying, because I'm being self-righteous about it. Yes, what it's like to not treat your alcoholism and your drug addiction and then to treat it, I know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. And for my first years of recovery, I shut the fuck up because I had no clue what I was doing. And that's very shitty. You know what I mean? That's shitty to like expect people to do that, you know? But I'm an actual humble person. I am. I think I am. I am right-sized. I don't think that I am special. I have done entire podcasts that I am not special. Every time I speak in certain areas, I always relate it to how I'm just like you. The same feelings that you feel, I feel them. If you listen to this podcast, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm consistent. But trying to minimize myself, make myself small in order to fit in and to be liked and to not threaten anybody, I'm fucking tired of that shit. Whoo, let that bitch breathe. I'm tired of that shit. I'm tired of trying to make myself fit in a room because other people can't handle the energy that I'm bringing on, you know? Because if you listen to what the fuck I'm saying on this podcast, it's a message of compassion. It's a message of community. It's a message of tolerance. It's a message of motivation. If you listen to this shit, then you know. Then you hear, and I'm 89% real today, real on this podcast, but today I'm being 99% real, and it's Sling Dick motherfucking Monday. Fuck, man. I knew I was coming in hot today. You know, but it's hard to mitigate. It's hard to mitigate that ego, because to do the things that I do, you need to have an ego. You need to delusionally believe in yourself. Call back to another podcast. This motherfucker's consistent. I'm consistent. You need to delusionally believe in yourself. You. Everybody who's doing things that other people think you couldn't do, you need to delusionally believe in yourself, but you also need to stay humble within that. How do you manage that? That's the duality. And I'm having a hard time managing that. Not a hard time, but I'm in this space where that's what I'm doing right now. I'm managing that. And I need to focus on godly things. My family, I've been working so much. I worked essentially 30 days straight, every day, 8-hour shifts in chaos. And I thrive in that because it's not my chaos. I'm able to not take it on. I'm able to be a mirror and not take that on. That is a talent that I didn't think I would have, but it's only because I know chaos. When I deal with mentally ill people or drug addicts, I am more like them than I am more like you. If you're normal, if you are fucking normal, you're a doctor, lawyer, you never did drugs, I don't fucking know what your life is like. I don't know anything about your life. I know the worst case scenario. I know shooting dope and death. That's what I know. So, and mental illness and breakdowns and mania and psych wards. I know that. Shout out to Grippy Socks. Let that bitch breathe. I know more about that than I do about a normal fucking productive life. So when I work with people who speak my language, I don't feel that chaos. I'm actually better. I don't feel any of my own chaos. I've been bored not doing this, not in this work. It's boring, you know. But to talk like this, you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in yourself, but you also I don't want to be self-righteous. I don't want to be in a position where I'm egocentric. And I have been getting in that. You know, I start thinking about what I deserve. I start paying attention I start getting attention from women and enjoying that instead of keeping my mind on godly things like my family. Because the grass is not greener. My life is exponentially better when I'm spending time with my partner and my children. I know that for a fact. My life this year during quarantine, my life has greatly improved, and I think 99% of that is because I've been focused on family. So it's easy to lose sight of that. When you're making money and you're out here succeeding, it's easy to lose sight of that because there's pretty girls. Now they're paying attention to you because you're doing cool shit. And everybody else around you is living a basic life, which there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing. I'm not judging people who live basic lives. Dope. My family are all public servants. And they're highly educated, but they're public servants. They've always helped the greater community. They've dedicated their entire lives to doing that. So there is everything about that is noble. But to do the things that I do, you have to fucking think highly of yourself. But you can't let it gas your head up. How do you do this? I'm learning. But like someone called me out on being self-righteous, you know? And you could take it as self-righteous, but if you talk to me, you know. How many times have I said I hate myself on this podcast? How many times have I said, I just want to be liked? How many times have I humbled myself and said that? Over and over and over and over again. And I'm honest on here. I expose myself on here all the time. How many times do I talk about what women experience? And I'm not speaking from a place of judging men. I'm speaking from a place as the abuser. I will tell you that. I'm not over here fronting. I don't want anybody to come out 5-10 years from now and say, Eric did this, Eric did that. Yes, I did that. I'm telling you I did that. And when I coach young men and walk with young men, who I do right now, I have a guy who I told by yelling at your mother the way you're yelling at her and threatening her and getting in her face, you're practicing doing this to your partner when this comes and doing this to women when this comes. You don't know that because you're a kid and you can't perceive that, but you're practicing. How do I know? Because when I was delusional on drugs and in mania, I was mean to my mother, and I'll always remember that. And I'm so grateful for my mother today, because you know what she would say to me, and you heard me say this 2 motherfucking weeks ago, because I'm consistent. She said, never give up. And she never gave up. And look where I am today. Sling Dick Monday. We're on one today. I knew I was going to be on one today. You know, so it's interesting. So there's a little bit of duality. Am I self-righteous a little bit? Do I enjoy feeling superior to people? Of course, so does everybody. But I've also spent years hating myself. I've put the work in. I spent years hating myself. I spent years and years failing. I spent years and years of people saying, fuck that guy. People still to this day, I go places and people's immediate instinct is fuck me. And I have a few friends who are like that. Gabby, who's done this podcast, she's another one that people automatically dislike her. Is because people have preconceived notions of who they think I am. I don't think I actually think that I'm insignificant to other people. I have racial trauma. I have such backwards racial thinking. Part of me hated being black for so much of my life. Finally, I feel blackety black. I enjoy it and I soak in it. And now everybody thinks, fuck this guy, he's self-righteous, he's racist, or whatever the fuck. It's fuck, man. How are we doing on time? I feel like I'm going really fast. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Let's calm it down, though. Let's calm it down. Breathe. Let's bring it back to humility. That's gonna be the main message because that's what I need to take away. No matter how well I do, I just need to remember I'm a junkie. I'm getting lucky, baby. This is all bonus time. Vinny Cammy, we skimmed over the death of Vinny Cammy as if he wasn't a human being. But he was one of our best friends growing up. We skimmed over that death and just forgot about it. I have other friends who people have entirely written off who may probably die out there. And we skim over these people. And I remember them. And we're going to talk about them and how much I love them, all those people who passed away. Because I'm living on bonus time. And I get to do the things that I do. I get to raise 2 children. I get to have a partner. I get to have great friends. I get to come in a studio and talk my shit. I get to dress how I want. I get to say what I want. And now, on this podcast, 99% of what I want to say, I'm saying it. I want to be Coco Diaz free. If you don't know who Joey Diaz, he does not give a fuck. He kidnapped the motherfucker, talks about it. I want to be able to talk about all the fucked up shit I did because I don't do it anymore. I'm so far from that. But we're not going to skim over that I'm on bonus time all by the grace of God. I had a spiritual experience. I've had a number of spiritual experiences. I'm going to talk about them a little bit. First one. I had some in my addiction where I crashed my car drunk going 100 miles an hour with a 24 pack of Coronas in the front seat, going 100 and walked out without a scratch. If that's not God. I've been in so many brawls where knives and guns were pulled out, didn't get arrested, don't have a felony assault charge, caught a major case, got all my charges dismissed, almost went to prison for 7 years with Vinny Cammy. Almost went to prison for 7 years. But by the grace of God, I have beautiful family, beautiful parents who never gave up on me. So I've had spiritual experiences throughout my entire life. I've OD'd and I've been brought back to life a number of times. I remember my friend Jackie was at my house with a few people. And I was shooting dope and they were doing Roxy's and I passed out. He calling my girlfriend at the time. Eric's on the floor and he's blue. We don't know what to do. And guess what? Gas back up and I'm alive. I was brought back to life. Not by anybody else. There was no Narcan in everybody's pocket back then. We were all just fucking suburban kids doing drugs. Didn't get Narcan, but brought back to life freebase and coke and heroin, fucking on a ton of Xanax, passed out, eyes rolled back, brought back to life in the hospital. My dad said to me, he said, Eric, when they don't tell you what's happening, that means it's bad fucking news. And they wouldn't tell him what was happening because I was dead. And they brought me back to life. And guess what I did right after that? Went right to the dope man's house out of the hospital because I'm a stone cold junkie, baby. That's what I do. So first of all, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be either be in prison or dead. Because let's go down the list. Christian Venturella, Nick, Roberto, Corey, Manny, Corey again, fucking Vinny. Who else? Ashley. Who else? So many I can't even remember. TJ. So many I can't even remember, dude. Mosh. Who else? Who else? So many I can't even fucking remember. I just named 10. And I was worse than them. And used for longer. Colin. That's a serious one. I haven't worked on that. I haven't processed that in my life. To do drugs with someone and then for them to die and for you to live is heavy. And I haven't been able to cross that bridge yet. But I'm gonna tell the truth. That's real. I know death, a lot of it. Jails, institutions, and death. I know psych wards have been in plenty. 4 wins when I was 16. Called my parents, say, get me the fuck out of here. Went right from the psych ward to a camping trip and drank myself into sickness and almost hurt people, and it was crazy. Jails, institutions, and death. I almost went to prison, blah, blah, blah. So just off by the grace of God have I made it out of that without only trauma and put on people and trauma experienced, but came out with my life. Both freedom and no prison. My friend just got out of prison. Steven just got out of prison. He spent the last 9 birthdays in prison, I think he said. That wasn't me, though. I had made it out of that. Then when I got sober, I was in rehab. And 2 weeks into rehab, I had an epiphany. Something clicked. And it said, you don't have to shoot dope to get up anymore. And I had a realization. That was God. Actually, even before that, for me, the way God manifested was love. God manifested in love because the unconditional love of a parent that I know for my children now, to never give up on your child. My mom went and researched, spoke to psychiatrists, spoke to doctors, and said, how do we get my son help? She found a treatment center, said, Eric, you can get on a plane tomorrow. And of course, I did what junkies do, and I said, no, I'll go in 2 weeks. She said, get on the plane tomorrow. You could change your life. I got on that fucking plane, missed a couple flights, nodding out in the airport, got through the airport with tons of dope in my body, in my pocket, in my butt, fucking spoons and Xanax pouring out of my fucking every seam of every item of luggage I had. Still made it through without getting caught. God. Made it to treatment. 2 weeks into treatment, had that realization I didn't have to get high anymore, started working out. I didn't work out before that. I was 165 pounds soaking wet. Was mostly vegetarian in treatment. I don't know why, but I was. Started working out, was so sore because my body just wasn't used. Atrophied. All I was eating was fucking Sour Patch Kids, Skittles, and drinking Coke. Started working out. Didn't need medication for the first 9 months of my sobriety. Was capped in recovery. They told me to go to meetings, and I was at meetings every day. This isn't me doing this. I'm a stone cold junkie. This isn't me doing this. This is me just moving my feet, but this isn't me being guided. Had a mental breakdown, tried to kill myself in 2015. Was pulled out of the car. Didn't have to go to the hospital, woke up, survived it, suicide attempt. One of many. If I told you about how many suicide attempts, and I'm not talking about bullshit attempts, I'm talking about touching the third rail on the train, nothing happening. Putting a toaster in the tub, nothing happening. Taking double shots of dope, nothing happening. God. This is not me doing this, baby. This is not me. All by the grace of God. And I got to remember this. And I'm really saying this shit right now because I need to remember. Because I get self-righteous, I start thinking, I'm doing this shit. I'm not doing this, baby. I'm not doing this. Not doing this. My first 4.5 years of recovery were bullshit. Medication after medication. Liver shut down from a medication. Fucking couldn't sleep. Insomnia for months. Depressed for 2.5 years. I never thought it would end. Outpatient treatment center, shout out to Sharp Mesa Vista, had full awakenings there. Let me talk about a spiritual awakening I had in my first year. I had a girlfriend at the time, sat on a train on the Long Island Railroad going into the city, and the sun hit my face. She's sitting across from me. Shout out to her because I was terrible to this woman because I didn't know how not to be abusive. I didn't know how not to be abusive. That's the only thing I knew was to be abusive to women. Emotionally. It wasn't physically abusive, but I was emotionally abusive and unavailable. But I sat on the train and there was a conscious moment that I'll remember to the day that I die where I said, I never thought my life would be this good. I'll remember that moment forever. It was like the sun shined over me and I said, I never thought life would be this good. But anyway, that was early in my recovery. But a woman then, took me under her wing. She's still a mentor to me today, professionally, and she's a life coach and sponsor and just a beautiful woman in my life. We've had our differences, but I am forever grateful. She read to me. First, I saw her. I was so depressed. She took my glasses and said, can I clean your glasses? And read to me and made this literature make sense to me because I was so depressed. I was falling apart. I was cheating on my girl constantly. She was raising our young son. Chaos. My first 4.5 years were chaos. I don't even take birthdays anymore. I don't even take chips because I don't even count that time. I don't do any of that happy birthday to you because I'm just getting lucky, baby. I don't need any attention for that. I don't want any adoration for that. I'm exposing myself right now. 99% free. But I had a spiritual experience as a result of a 12-step program. And things started to make sense for me. And I made it to 5 years. And at 5 years, I started to come home. I made amends to my partner. I did a full disclosure, told her everything that I did. She forgave me. That's God. And that's a strong, faithful woman. You could say, oh, that's a strong, faithful woman. She said, I'm never giving up on you. The only other woman who's never given up on me like that is my mother. So no matter how difficulties I have with my partner, I'm forever grateful because I'm able to do the cool shit I do right now because she holds it down. I'm in San Diego. She's in the desert. I'm holding it down right now. She's holding it down right now. I'm living my dream. So my dream is to be successful enough so she could live her dreams. She never got a chance to live her dreams. That's God. That's God through people. Met her in church. Spiritual experiences. Had a man, Jeff, Pastor Jeff, he just put a book out. Buy his book, Drink the Damn Coffee. I am the evil twin version of him. I'm the junkie version of him. He wears cool glasses and he's, big personality. He's the positive version of me. I'm the fucking dark monster version of him. My motivation is out of pain. His motivation is out of glory and God. But he spoke life into me. I had a God experience. He said, Eric, you are forgiven and you have promise over your life. And I'm still living that promise. And that promise leads into the confidence I have today. So shout out to Jeff Osborne. Spoke life into me. Spiritual experience. Watching your child be born. Spiritual experience. And then I'll end with, I can go on, but I was meditating. I couldn't meditate. The idea, when I was struggling, people said to me, Eric, have you tried meditating? And I was like, fuck you. You don't know how bad my life is. I was soaking. It was mental masturbation. I see other people do it now, and I have no tolerance because I felt like shit and I liked it. I started to exult in my pain because I was so used to being in pain. So I would defend it. I would postulate and I would pontificate. And I can so eloquently articulate how bad my life was. He said, do you meditate? And a couple months later, I got in a float tank and I had a visual hallucination. I was like, whoa, who turned the lights on? Did they put lights in the float tank? It was bright as day. I could see right in front of me. And the first thing that came out of my mouth was, thank you. My life changed. Then was open to meditation. Got in the float tank twice a week, sometimes every day of the week. Learned how to meditate. It's God working in my life. Meditated this morning for hours. Woke up really early, meditated. Had a real meditation, not where I fell asleep, but had a full theta brainwave state, calm sense of self, sense of being. And it allowed me, I knew I was going to come in here and come in hot on Sling Dick Monday, and I was ready to go. I was actually so calm. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna, express I don't know how I was gonna express the enthusiasm I had today because I was so calm from that meditation. But the point is, when you're killing it in life, soak in that, especially when you know pain, because it's not always going to be good. I may have a season of being broke again. But when you're not broke, make sure your partner has everything she needs and she wants. Make sure you do nice things for yourself. Eat well, enjoy food. Do things for yourself. Especially when you put the fucking work in. When you felt the pain, you worked through it and you moved your feet like last week, call back because I'm consistent. I ain't telling no lies over here. Fuck, man. There's no lies in anything I'm talking about. Everything is, my coaching client said, Eric, you be exposing yourself. Yeah, I expose myself because I don't want anybody to come back a year from now, 5 years from now and say, oh, he's fronting on this rah motivational shit. I'm only motivational because I know the darkness and I know you can make it out, but it's all by the grace of God. But when you're doing good, feel good, be confident in yourself, delusionally believe in yourself, because people are going to doubt you. I see people watching my shit, because you can see who's watching your story. I see people watching my shit, liking and not liking my shit, not sharing my shit. I'm sharing people's whack ass shit all the time. I'm sharing people's corny ass shit all the time. And a lot of motherfuckers are doing corny. I've listened to every podcast here in San Diego, and those shits are corny, but I've shared it. Yo, San Diego podcast, there's so many corny ass podcasts in San Diego. Woo! And we're free. We 99% free today. Most of the podcasts in San Diego are corny as fuck. No one's doing what we're doing. No one's doing what I'm doing. No one's doing what I'm doing. And no one's telling me good job. I'm doing this shit because I know it's dope. I know it's dope. But this podcast in San Diego, they're corny as fuck, but I'm still sharing it. People make music corny as fuck. People fucking do all kinds of shit that I think is fucking whack. But I post it. And I don't get the same love back. But you don't do it for the love. You do it because it's the right thing to do, because you want to see people win. That's integrity. But it gets frustrating and I get self-righteous because I know what I'm doing is dope. How do you navigate this shit, son? I don't know how to navigate this shit. I'm working on it. And this is part of being an adult. This is part of being successful. This is part of being creative. This is part of being, you don't want this shit to go to your head, but I got to remember this is only by the grace of God that I do this. Can't forget that. Jesse told me that. Me and Jesse and I were having lunch yesterday and we were blah, blah, blah. I was doing my thing. I was pontificating as I do. And Jesse was like, Eric, you just have to remember that this is only by the grace of God. Keep friends like that around you. Keep friends like that around you. Keep friends who speak life in you and keep you humble and reflect, who are mirrors to you. Jesse is a mirror to me. He thinks differently than me, but he reflects me back to me. and shows me myself. Benny as well. I influence Benny. Benny influences me, and he reflects me back to me, shows me a mirror of myself. I've made amends to Benny so many times because I've seen how shitty I can be, and he loves me anyway. You know, get a good therapist who does the same. My therapist, for black woman, said, "Do you think you hate being black?" I was so offended. But then you start thinking, doesn't matter how you got there. Do you have a problem being black? Does it bother you? Does it make you uncomfortable in your own skin? You know, I'm in a lot of white spaces. I sit around circles where I'm the only black person. Do I feel, you know, am I confident in my blackness? You know, do I wish I was a part of? Absolutely not. I don't wish I was white in any way. But do I have a weird relationship to being black? She reflects something to me, and she's very clinical. She's not a fucking very, she's not an she's not an empathetic therapist. She's a very clinical therapist. Very, very binary, which I need because I'm very abstract in my thinking. So I need someone who's going to think critically and be, you know, think in a binary sense to explain things to me. But she reflects things that I can't see, my blind spots. She reflects those. Man. So we're going to wrap it up with this. We're going to wrap it up with a message. It's Sling Dick Monday. We're going to be fucking free on this podcast. Now, we're not fucking sugarcoating shit no more. I'm exposing myself. I'm not fucking special. This is all by the grace of God. The love of my mom, the love of my partner, the love of my friends, those spiritual experiences that I had, maybe the guidance of all those dead friends that I have, that I'm not in prison or dead right now. And then I have the confidence and the belief in myself to do the things that I do. Let that bitch breathe. So we'll end it there. Go to bigmoodcoach.com. Cop that merch. Don't cop that merch for any fuckery. Cop that merch because you fuck with me. And if you don't fuck with me, cool. Don't fuck with me. That's fine. But cop that merch. Go to Big Mood TV. Subscribe. Go to Barrio Corner. Episodes drop Thursday. Shout out to Benny. Shout out to Jeff Osborne. Buy his book. Buy the damn coffee. Shout out to Jeff. He's the fucking man. Has guided my life. And we're fucking out of here.
Circling above, they all in a piece, but they don't even know my name. Won't get even to swipe for the train. Cloudy, ride to the airport, gotta get right for the plane. Custom, smell like kush. Wifey hand in a tish. Yes, and I got no shame. Never. Some line to shine. With a broker, they got no game. Waking up next to a scat. Can't go home to a dame. Nah, tell themselves they're the same. Really though, who can they blame? I don't blame them either. They just wanna play the game and they're eager still. I don't wanna know you. I'm busy. You don't even know thyself.